You're not for immigration reform either.
Oh, I'm for,
you do not support the DREAM Act for students.
Boy, no, I'm not going to let you define what immigration reform is.
It's very simple. To legalize.
I'm for a lot of immigration
to legalize 11 million documented immigrants.
No,
that's what we mean by.
That's your definition.
Of course.
There are virtually no American. If you go around this country and say to people, "Hi, would you like to legalize 11 million people who cross the border illegally?" Jorge, you're never going to get that done.
But you just spoke about Ronald Reagan. He did it. He legalized 3 million.
At the time, they thought there were 300,000. Okay, and it was part of a package. Okay, the fact that there were 3 million, and that's part of why you're not going to get it done in the near future.
But you don't want to do the same thing that Reagan did.
No, because Reagan wouldn't have done the same thing Reagan did at this point. You're not going to get the country to agree to it. I want a dramatically improved legal visa program, because right now we make it easier to sneak into the U.S. illegally than to apply for a visa to come here as a tourist. I'm for half of the DREAM Act. I'm not for the whole DREAM Act. But I'm for the part that says, if you're in the United States, even if your parents brought you illegally, if you're here, you have the same right to sign up in the military and earn citizenship as you would have had if you were back home.
But is that compassionate with about 2 million students who came here as children? Their parents brought them here.
It's an important first step.
To no fault of their own, and you are saying you are punishing them.
Why would you regard serving in the U.S. military as punishment?
No, if they choose to go to college, you're saying no.
They can go to college. I haven't suggested we run around and try to deport them. I have suggested that if they want to become citizens, they can join the military.
Many of them are not going to college. They simply can't afford to pay the tuition for
And I've advocated that every state pick up the College of the Ozarks, which is a work-study college, which you can only go to if you need student aid. It has no student aid. And it has a program where you work. And I think every state ought to have, particularly in its poorest communities, a work-study college so that no student will ever be told you can't afford it.
Who would qualify under your plan to stay legally in the United States? Okay. Not to be a citizen, but to stay here legally.
People who have lived here and have a family here and are in a position to have an American family sponsor them. I would have it reviewed by a citizen review board at the local level, exactly like the World War II Selective Service.
For how many years do they have to be living here to afford that?
I think in the 20 to 25 year range. I mean, my
20 to 25?
Yeah, my first.
You're living outside most of the undocumented immigrants.
Yes.
So what would you do with them?
With most of them, I would urge them to get a guest worker permit. I would urge them to get a guest worker permit.
Mr. Gingrich, you know they're not going to get it.
Why?
Because the law says otherwise.
No, but we're writing a new law, Jorge. You and I are sitting here talking about a new law. We can write a law which makes them eligible to apply for the guest worker permit.
We're releasing a poll today that says that if you were to run against President Obama, the Hispanic vote would go 70% to President Obama and 22% to you. You would lose the general election with these numbers.
Sure. And if at this stage in 1979, 1980, you'd have taken the same poll, Jimmy Carter was beating Ronald Reagan by 30 points. I think by the time we get to the fall campaign and we talk about values, where the Latino community is far closer to me than they are to Obama, we talk about the failure to create jobs, where the Latino community has a much greater concern than President Obama does. We talk about an effective Latin American policy, where he has clearly failed. We talk about Ahmadinejad and the Iranians in alliance with Chavez, where the president has clearly failed. We talk about his failure in Cuba. I have a hunch that by this fall, we may do better than any Republican except maybe Reagan.
George W. Bush got about 44% of the Hispanic vote.
My goal would be to break it.